recommending we spend it all was just going into the general fund. Now it has to stay into this line item and be spent on things that waste management intended to be for, not just general fund purposes.
Yeah. Anyway, that's just to clean it up so everybody can see it.
Any further discussion? All in favor of moving this motion to tomorrow, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to authorize the Veterans Affairs Committee to hire a Veterans Affairs Director, Benefits Counselor, to refill a vacancy due to a retirement at a paid grade 7 on the RISE salary schedule with a salary range of $34,928 to $42,731.
Support. Got a motion and support. Discussion.
Yes, I don't believe we really need to refill that position. Geraldine was a fine person. But you got Carrie and Casey up there that are doing the lion's share of the work, and they have been for quite a while now. I don't see where we really need to have a director up there. It would save us $70,000 by not having one.
Commissioner?
It's an accredited position. You have to go to schooling to do that. Harry handles one side of it, Geraldine handles the other. I wouldn't be surprised if, due to some of the circumstances surrounding that office, that we lost more people in the near future due to just the unnecessary burden that comes with being there. So I absolutely support this position. We need to help our veterans.
I won't even.
As is, yes, it is an accredited position, and there are a number of veterans in the county that could fill the slot, that are already accredited through the various service organizations. But it still comes back to, do we need somebody just sitting there? Carrie is a former Marine, and she is an accredited. Casey does a bang-up job as a secretary, handling everything else in the office. Before Geraldine came, there was only 2 people in there, and it was part-time. Now, today, we have 2 full-time people, and we've doubled what we can do for the veterans right now. Why are we considering spending $70,000 just to fill a chair when we already have the people in place that are doing the job?
Because you're running those people out too, and they will soon be leaving.
Excuse me.
Yes, please.
Just a technical aspect on the motion. This is a typo on my end. It should not be due to a retirement. It should be due to a resignation.
So noted, thank you.
Timing is impeccable as well.
And that's my concern is that we're using tax dollars for a position that really is already being done by the 2 people that have been there doing the job for years. And they're doing an excellent job.
People voted for that fund.
I'm just aghast. With even 3 in there, they're busy all the time. This turned into almost a 7-day job, 24 hours. The director got phone calls, the people working get phone calls on the weekend. They had a tough time even taking any time off. It's because of the many veterans in this county, it would be an unmitigated disaster and disservice to them if we did not fill this position with a person as capable as the Veterans Board can hire.
I'd even say that there's more that we could be doing. An idea I brought to Geraldine, who she's very receptive, and I think it was in the works, is kind of like the mobile office hours, where we reach out to the veterans. We go to Durand to, say, a grocery store and have a booth set up where if they're just walking in, they can start filling out paperwork. So maybe one day a week we just rotate areas so that we can get more access to those in the community. So there are things that we can do to to still provide great services and even reach out even further. Just a thought.
Well, I don't want to turn this into an argument, that's my point of view. I am a veteran, I am a service officer. I know that there's a lot of other service officers in the county.
Well, they can all apply for the job and,
They could, but like this year was, a month ago or whatever, is when it was advertised, it was in the back of the paper in a little bitty classified, where all other times it was a regular article in the paper. So I'm sure it was unintentional, as is that it was advertised, but not where the normal person would read.
Probably budget cuts. We can't afford that from paying anymore.
You know, but irregardless, it's just a lot of, I think it's a waste of taxpayers' money is to fill a slot for somebody, for a position that's just really not needed. The two girls that are working there are doing an excellent job. They've been doing it and they can continue.
any further discussion? All in favor of moving this forward to tomorrow's vote, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to authorize the Veterans Affairs Committee to hire a part-time interim director at the hourly pay grade 7 rate with no fringe benefits except those required by law.
Any support on this motion?
Support.
A motion and support, discussion.
Just what I just got done saying is why are we hiring a person interim without any benefits on one line, and the line above it is we're giving everything. If we're going to hire somebody, let's hire them at a cheaper rate, which would be the interim without any benefits. Saving money.
There's just been somewhat rumors that out of the gals, one of them is leaving and the other one's looking hard for another job, so we just don't want to end up with that office being zero staff.
As I said, there's a lot of veterans in the county that could do that. And I think, veterans should be in the office. I'm not trying to sound, bigoted, but I think veterans understand veterans a lot better than civilians. Casey does a bang-up job as a secretary. Carrie's a great, little Marine. She does a good job. And I think if we could put other veterans in there, we used to have a lot of veterans going in there as volunteers, no pay, and we'd have 4 or 5 service officers in there every day. As is in veterans, if they know they're welcome, will go in there and, ask service officers to help out. There's dozens of us around. So I can't see paying a lot of money for that position.
I think if we're going to have a Veterans Affairs Director and post or authorized to hire, then we should accept resumes and hire for that. This interim is, like you said the other day, is the interim going to take the job and then just get the job and then everyone has applied and put their time in? And I mean, that's my fear of doing this double. Why don't we just consider to hire one and run how we're running right now, and then when they hire someone, that's the permanent person. This interim, and it's not going to look good. It doesn't look good when you give an interim tag and then waste everyone's time to apply like we did when we did the appointments to the board. I mean, and then that's my own.
The problem and fear I have is the other person leaving. They put up with a lot.
Is that
Actively looking, I'm not sure if interviews at this point. I think we
if you had
interview with the state.
percentage,
90%.
she's leaving.
Would you stay?
Well, how can we find out about this stuff, as this comes forward to us, boom, now, well, we better do it because we're losing everyone. It's like, why aren't we knowing
Well, they're trying to do the right thing, 2 weeks, they're trying to,
Yeah.
they're applying for their jobs, they're having interviews.
Okay, so she leaves.
So we have a secretary.
What's the time frame that it would take us to hire a veterans director? What's the time frame?
Can we allow-
He's dying to
allow-
talk
what
over
do we
here,
have?
so.
Can we allow?
You know, I've been sitting here very patiently. You mind? I've been
Please
sitting
come
here.
forward, state your name.
My name is Jim Brothers, I'm on the Veterans Committee. I've been sitting here very patiently listening to this, and I have very strong disagreements with what is being said here. Yes, are we losing Carrie? Yes. It's a possibility, not a possibility, it's a fact that she'll be leaving within a month, and she's getting twice the money she's getting right now. That's how valuable she is. Okay? Secondly, that I have gone through all the records, email, website, and everything. There's only one other nationally accredited service officer in this county, and it's not. So these people that can write, anybody can write one, but it's not going to be accepted unless it's done by an authorized, nationally recognized person. Now, we need to hire somebody that knows a little bit about what's going on in the office. It is a veteran. It's a veteran. I think it's a strong recommendation, like he says, to keep the office running smoothly until we can go through. We have a long list of people that's applied and some very, very good applicants. And it's only fair for them people is if we can interview them individually and then pick the right candidate, which you guys will approve it ultimately in the end. So give us this opportunity by hiring somebody to keep the office flowing. Carrie will not be leaving, but she will be going on vacation. A vacation that can't be canceled, or she'll lose all the money. This person is already familiar with the office, volunteers all the time, has all the necessities to do the position, administrative. There's a lot more to it than just being a veteran. See, I'm a veteran too. I feel that now the person in this community owes me a thing. Okay? To keep the office running smoothly so we can help veterans. That's all. This is kind of very upsetting because I have very big passion. I have for 40-some years been a veterans advocate. So, please, I'm not asking anything out of the way.
I have a question for you.
You can ask.
12 applicants for this position.
How did you know
Good
that?
applicants.
How did you know that?
That's what you just said.
12 athletes. I said. They have 12 athletes.
That's what you said. So 12 applicants, how long would that take you to interview 12 applicants?
Well, right now, if you the paper, we just did Monday was the last day. Last Monday was the last day that they could apply. Okay, we just got it all together. We've gone through them, all this individually, looked at every one of them. Now we've compiled a list of interviews for it. And we're going to give everybody a fair chance.
Yeah.
And like I said, this interim is not the team job.
Well, what's
It's probably too high.
What would you say? What would you say is the time frame?
It's going to be probably 3-4 weeks if you want us to do a good job.
3-4 weeks.
Because you got to schedule people, they just don't.
Yeah.
The average in the public sector is 27 days.
Yeah.
For background checks for the sheriff's office is about 47 days.
And like I say, we need to keep the office running smoothly. There are people, nationally accredited people that will come in and help us during this period. And that's the only way you're going to get anything written. They have to be nationally recognized.
Jeremy, this is because of that, all that time frame, then it has to come to the Board of Commissioners.
Right.
So that has to be either the regular meeting or a special meeting, and they don't want any hiccups in service. We have done a bang-up job serving our veterans with giving the millages, personnel and everything, and we don't want any hiccups in that service. And so that's the reason. It just isn't going to happen overnight because of the time frame. And they want to make sure they have someone that's accredited, can do it, and has had, and this individual has helped out our county and volunteered considerable time. So he's familiar with the activities.
May I speak?
Yes, ma'am.
I might get emotional. I am a World War Army nurse, and I anesthetize these patients for surgery. And my statement is, I know for a fact that there are many people who are sympathetic, but only a veteran can understand what we went through and what our needs are. Thank you.
Further discussion? All in favor of moving this forward, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to authorize Circuit Clerk to hire an ADR collection clerk to refill a vacancy at a pay grade 6 on the Rice salary schedule with a salary range of $32,085 to $39,253.
Support. Any discussion on this matter? All in favor of moving this forward, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to authorize the transfer of the required portion, 50%, of the Convention Facility Development Fund's alcohol liquor tax in the amount of $20,409.50 from account number 701-000-285.000 to Mid-State Health Network per Section 2 of Public Act 2 of 1986.
Support. Any discussion on this matter? In favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to consider approving the county's operating millage at 5.1146 mils to be levied July 1st, 2016, and authorize the county clerk and board chair to sign State Tax Commission Form L-4029.
Support. Discussion on this matter. In favor?
Yeah, a quick one is, refresh my memory, is, I know, remember the 5.11, but what was the high side of that? Wasn't that what, 5.7 something?
Where we started?
5.555.
5.555.
That's where we started, but what is in for the millage is 5.11 was the low side, and it's been there for a while.
So it has to stay that this year.
Yeah, but is what was the high side that was also stated in that millage? It was 5.7 something.
It's been 5.55 since 1964.
Well, I realize, but I would feel better knowing for sure what is in the millage before we go past it.
This is the amount we can levy as far as taxes.
I do understand all that, I do, is what, I remember the millage when it came through the desk, our desk a few months ago, and there was a number as well over 5.55.
That's for the vote in November. This is just to keep the county going for this year.
And what you're talking about came from the tax allocation board. That includes the ISD as well as the townships. This is just us.
And that's what I'm asking for,
That's not until November. That comes in the November vote. This is just our operating millage that we stand at right now. We're just approving to keep the money flowing. Without approving this, essentially the county will shut down after July. So
Okay.
the millage, the tax allocation board, that is to be voted on in November, and that's what, 5.6? Well, it's 5.6, but that's with the township millages and RESD and all that.
I don't like to combine them. It's 5.555. It's
Yeah.
1.0. It's 0.245. It's been that way since 1964.
Yeah.
It made the reason there's reductions, it was heavily overrides, and that's why we reduced.
Yeah.
This is just to keep the county going. It has nothing to do with that tax allocation or any of that went on.
Okay, that's why I'm asking is because the numbers were all jumbled together. Thank you.
That is what it is. Further discussion, all in favor of moving this forward, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to approve budget adjustment number 16 and 11.
Support. discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to approve budget adjustment number 16.
Support. Discussion? Favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, I gotta get the right one. Finance Committee, this is a change from what we have printed in the regular one. This would be for item K. I move to authorize Commissioner Bartz and Superintendent Hill to gather pricing information for a new truck in the Buildings and Grounds Department and provide a report to the next Finance Administrative Committee meeting.
Second. I thought they just already had a new truck.
Well, we've had two others completely fall apart since then.
We're going back together and make one.
And this is not, Commissioner, this is not a motion to buy a truck.
I know.
It's to bring information to this board next month to discuss. We have had two since then completely, and $300 to $500 trucks that need $3,000 and $4,000 put into them. And we don't think that's the right thing to do. I don't think that's the right thing to do, and that's why I'm bringing this motion forward. And it's just, I say, it's not for me to purchase anything, it's for me to bring information back for this board to discuss.
Well, that's the reason I asked her.
Yes, sir.
That's all I needed, wanted to know why.
The one truck they love, but there's five of them, they all want to ride in the same truck. That's the problem.
Okay, are we in discussion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, man.
Yes, you may.
Jeremy, you know this is coming. Let's see. We had found a snowplow in a building. We gotta have a new truck to hook up to it. We got it before spring, just before spring, and it never really got used. Now we gotta get a new truck with a trailer hitch to drag around the lawnmower trailer. It just sounds really silly. You
Because
know?
we're about 8 months behind in everything we do.
This is, you know, why aren't we using the snowplow truck, drop the blade, put a hitch on the back of it, and drag the trailer? Instead of considering buying another
Actually,
truck.
that's what they're gonna do, is use that truck, because it's a heavy-duty truck to pull the trailer. But then it leaves them nothing to drive around here for town and everybody to use to, if they have a problem at the jail or something like that, the vehicles. If that truck's out mowing, if that truck's out at Chi-Town sitting while they're mowing lawns, then they have nothing to drive.
But they'll be in Chi-Town mowing the lawns, they won't need a car back
No, we
here.
got volunteers that normally do that.
Is that what happened to the old four-door?
What's that?
The old four-door?
Yeah, that thing's, I mean,
Well, I just asked, I know about the truck stuff.
right.
I didn't know.
You understand what's
That's
going
what I'm
on.
asking.
Here, Commissioner Rook went over and looked at him. We discussed my issues. Everybody thought I was crazy. Commissioner Rook.
No, not everybody.
Commissioner Howie has since been over there. I think everybody, and if you have time, sir,
Yeah.
maybe go over and look at what we're talking about, because it's
I go back by that quite a bit.
it's ridiculous of what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, but,
I'm not saying, I just wanted to hear what was going on.
That's fine.
I didn't know
That's
that,
why we're
because I hadn't been
discussing.
over there.
Gary, even if we decide to buy that, you know, it'll be a different type truck, probably be a cab and a half, so they can put tools in the back, and when they're not using it, they can lock it up. And it'll probably be a 17 instead of a 16. It'll probably have to be over the, gear change.
The old green truck needs a transmission, an exhaust, tires, and a gas tank. I mean, they don't have to put with gas, it's not even runnable right now, so again, so it's just,
Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
okay. Any other discussion on this matter? Commissioner Howie?
I'll look at your pricing information.
And, I mean, it was brought up by the public to, buy a used truck, but with the government pricing that we get and the warranties and that, it just doesn't make any sense to, to say $5,000 and buy a truck with 20 or 30,000 miles on it and no warranty and stuff. It just doesn't make sense, so. All in favor of moving this motion forward, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion.
No. I just can't see that. That's just being frivolous.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to accept the offer to settle the Sheriff's Office non-supervisory bargaining unit Act 312 petition on the terms set out in the June 2nd, 2016 email from Bob Donick, and direct the labor attorney to prepare the documents necessary to implement the offer. And I'd like to clarify that those discussions were in closed session, so I don't think we can talk about the agreement until it's signed.
I will say that I was, as chairman, was also a part of when this all started. So this has been going on for 3 years, and it's part of bringing everything, all county employees into the same playing field. No further discussion. All in favor of moving this forward, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to approve a one-time lump sum payment in the amount of $500 for full-time employees and $150 for part-time employees who were employed on December 31st, 2015 and are still employed as of June 16, 2016.
Support.
Discussion.
As you saw in the audit, we have a budget surplus 1 year of $798,842. At the end of December in 2015, we passed an annual surplus policy together that signified where those dollars would go should that happen. Granted, in December of 15, I don't think we could even fathom that the number would be that high. So of that surplus policy, $399,421 would go towards our pension liability. $159,768.40 would go towards our OPEB liabilities. The same amount would go in the rainy day fund. So in 1 year, we would have added $169,868.40 to our rainy day fund, bringing it up to almost $193,000, down from $23,000. Mind you, in 1997, it was at $765,000. So back to the general fund would go $79,884.20. Of these dollars, perhaps we could look at the rainy day fund, which is again would be at about $193,000. If we did this, we have about 184 full-time employees and 23 part-time employees. The grand total of this action would be $95,500. These employees have gotten us through the budget austerity years. They have not had a raise in over 8 years, some 10. This isn't a contractual obligation. This is a one-time lump sum that even if we did approve, their bargaining units would still have to agree to take. It is about the equivalent of a 1% increase. Again, it's one-time lump sum. We're losing a lot of good people. One office is losing 2. We have another office losing another person today. We're trying to keep good employees, and we're not being good stewards. And this is a sign of goodwill, good faith effort for getting us through the tough times. And I welcome your comments and concerns.
Discussion. All in favor of moving this forward, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report, I believe. I'm looking at all the K's and C's and A's and B's and T's, but I think
Your secret.
Public Safety and Courts, Commissioner Horvath.
Thank you. Motion to consider appointing Michael Hirondine to the Central Dispatch Board as a township representative to fill a vacancy effective immediately with a term that expires on December 31st, 2017, or until the successor is appointed.
Support.
Any discussion on this? He he is a township representative. That is the area that we had to fill. There were several other people that did apply, but that were non-qualified. Once again, you had to be a township representative to fill this work. With no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, that is my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Horvath. Commissioner Rudd, sir, Health and Human Services.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to consider approving amendment number 4 to the comprehensive agreement with the state of Michigan in the amount of $933,723 for the period of October 1st, 2015 to September 30th, 2016, and authorize Larry Johnson, Health Director, to sign the same.
Or,
Any discussion?
Mr. Johnson's currently in a meeting. He explained it previously, but he should be here. Oh, are you making it? Man, I'm drinking some Gatorade today, sorry. You need to go show skinny guy.
Got to buy a elevator.
Real briefly, our largest state contract, we have up to 5 amendments during the year. They go up or down. This was up. We're adding 37,000 in women and children and emergency preparedness.
We all cheered.
Went up.
I would advise you support this. It's gotta be a good deal to keep people
No further discussion, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
You laugh, but that is not a
Consider
joke.
accepting the place on file the Shiawassee County Health Department 2015.
Any discussion on this? Larry, again, please.
Have my copy with me, but I hope you all got a copy of the report. We revamped it this year to make it more user-friendly to the public. We used the Baker College class that did it as their class project to take what we had, which was about a 70-page document, and condense it down to like 20. Highlights of this year's report: the continued uptick in our environmental services, which is a good sign for the economy. Getting back to the positivity. And an increase in our general immunizations this year, which is a big part of the health department because it's so important, especially for the kids. So if anybody has any questions on that, I would ask that you bring them to me. I hope you were happy with it. So I want to thank our board health members, Commissioner Schneider and Commissioner Holzhausen, who heard my presentation on it last week, and then also this board for being so supportive of the health department. As a whole, I appreciate that.
Thanks.
In favor of moving this forward, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Our applicants doesn't meet the age requirements, but
There was a motion to appoint David Eckstein to the Valley Area on Aging. He's been trying hard to get on a committee. Through further, just a little investigation, he's not old enough, he doesn't meet the requirements, so at this time we're not allowed to put him on this. Thank you.
And what other, is there any other problems?
He applied for 2 or 3, he applied for that, for the one that Mike Harradine, he applied, there's nothing at this time that he qualifies for. I think there's 3 different ones. He does apply for the building and zoning ordinance committee, but that hasn't met in over 10 years. We didn't figure it was really.
Well, I understand all that, and I just want to make sure that we're not refusing him just because of age, because that'd be discrimination.
Well, their bylaws say that you have to be 60 years of age to be on that committee. I don't know how discrimination or how that works, but if you go back to our notes, it says it's for senior citizen. I think that's what it fell on.
I'm on the board over there in Valley Aging. And Gary just meets the criteria. Yeah.
Here's 60.
So there was an opening, but it was for somebody, a senior citizen, and their bylaws or whatever require they have to be 60 years old and meet that criteria. So that would not have to do with this board, it would be with that board.
When I went on the board, they called me and wanted to know if I was old.
So we are still trying to put this gentleman on someplace.
Maybe
It hasn't worked out in the last couple.
All I'm thinking is that then they shouldn't have this thing in here about the age requirement. He just was not qualified according to their bylaws.
Well, we just found
Leave that other out.
Yeah, well, we
because
made
that's not right.
That came to us at about 3:30 today, because we didn't know. So if he had met it, we were going forward with him.
Yeah, we would have put him on.
We would push them over.
Next would be, I'm gonna go down to other agenda items next. Other agenda items, I'd like to make a motion.
No, you can't.
Oh, I can't?
No. I'll move to authorize the county clerk to hire a payroll clerk to fill a vacancy to pay grade 4 on the rise salary schedule in the salary range of $27,008 to $33,041.
Support.
Little discussion. I just like to point out that we keep losing employees left and right because counties around us are paying substantially more, sometimes twice. We're having, and that means that Lori spends a lot of time training.
We spend a lot of time training people to move on to other jobs. Larry just lost somebody last month, trained him for probably 2 years. He's going to Livingston County for $76,000. We top out on the scale at 46. So what's happening, and part of that bonus and one-time lump sum bonuses, we're losing people to state. The state's losing people to private sector, and people are forgetting about local government and the work. We got to sell ourselves a little bit better. The flexibility, retirement's still pretty solid, 14 days off a year, but this is happening everywhere. And the state, what they're trying to do is they're trying to sell the nobility of public service and having a heart. Well, when people see the payment they're getting in the private sector, they're jumping ship. And I think it's important to note that we are a bedroom community. You know, we do have Flint, Saginaw, Lansing, Livingston County, Ingham County, Clinton County right around us, and it's tough to keep good people, and that's why I brought forth that idea in the finance section. And so it's something to keep in mind and be cognizant of going forward for all future generations.
I don't think we're ever going to be like, 46 here and 76 there, we're never going to compete with that. I mean, even when times are good, I don't think we're going to be able to.
But when you talk to the employees, they don't want that. They just want something, a little bit here and there. We haven't given them raises or anything in 8 years.
I hate to, in comparison to us, maybe Clinton County, I mean, but we can't compare ourselves. We can't, well, I just meant size-wise. They would be a comparable one to look at. But I mean, Clinton, Genesee, Livingston, it's hard to
It's tough.
really compare us to those, even Saginaw County, but.
You're right. It's tough because we're sandwiched in the middle of them, but our comparables are Montcalm, Barry, Ionia, who aren't exactly right next to us. But those are the same size and scope of budget. Even Bay City, Bay County, I should say, they have the same problem. They have a $32.5 million budget, and they're still having some time keeping people. It's happening everywhere. Again, we have to think.
Well, I think people are leaving. I don't want to just look at it as like, it's what we can't give them, or, we're, as us being bad guys. I just think it's the times, we can't really afford it I don't fault anyone for finding a better job or making more money. And I don't look at that as Shiawassee County is bad because we can't give someone what they can go get in a bigger county. That's what, it just feels like we're being shamed because we can't afford to keep these employees. Well, if someone comes somewhere and gets training, the reality of things is they owe us nothing. If we give them a job, really, if they're at will, they owe us nothing. They can go anywhere they want, and if they're going to get a better opportunity, they've got to do it. We've just got to be on top of things and being able to bring more people in, I guess. I don't know. I don't know the solution, but I just don't like to be shamed like we're so bad because we can't keep people. It's not this board that can't keep people, or, it's not our budgeting, or it's not our, we're looked at as the ones that are shamed because of it. We would never compete with Livingston County. I don't think. Genesee County, Oakland County, Saginaw County, so.
This particular case, this girl got married 4 years ago. Husband got a house in Lansing, so now she's living in Lansing. She used to live here, and this job is 7 minutes from her house.
I see.
It is a pay increase, but it's the 2 hours a day driving. Is-
And that's gonna, yeah, that'll add up too. Even if she made comparable, she still doesn't have 2 hour driving time, you know, so.
Exactly, and that's the reason on this one.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Jeremy a little bit too about, it's not going to be, we're paying, we gotta go to 70,000. What we gotta do is really take a hard look at what other counties are comparable size pay. Even if it's $5,000 or $6,000, $8,000 increase over time or something, we decide to do that. It's never gonna get, let's say at the present time, to 70. But I think we need to get in the low 50s. Because what's happening, there was a time when the economy is kind of slow. Larry or George Pichette before him, they could get applicants. Right now, when a lot of people have started to retire, baby boomers, there's a lot of vacancies, he's having difficulty getting applicants. He's even gone as far as, well, if I get somebody with a real good BS degree, maybe some experience in somewhere, he might be able to train him, but you see what he's up against. If you have to train somebody, you know, that doesn't come out with that type of a degree, it's really tough. It's tough. But I mean, there's a lot of things, and you're absolutely right. But we need to maybe be it's just like nurses. Memorial pays about 10 more, Lansing pays 15 to 20 more. I mean, but if we can, but our hours are a lot better than maybe working nights. I mean, so there's a lot of things. And normally, government pay would never pay as what it gets in the private sector because it's a government job. But, you know, we got to try to be competitive. So, that's all I'd say.
For the discussion to move on. Item 8, other under agenda items, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Chairperson?
You skipped me, so I have nothing. I do appreciate everybody's work today. See you tomorrow.
Next is public comments. Anybody? Don,
Well, I
you
hear-
really need to fill out a paper though. You can do it afterwards if you like, but there's papers right up there and I need to have you fill one out.
All right, well, I'll fill one out. My concern here is, you guys are all talking about people leaving because we don't have enough money. So the money's the issue. Accurate?
Not completely.
No?
But
What else
I
would
shouldn't
be?
comment,
Okay. So,
but.
as county commissioners, money comes from taxes. Am I accurate there?
Yeah.
Okay. So as county commissioners, what incentives have you worked with on your own or with other municipalities in this county to try to attract businesses that will pay taxes? And are you familiar with dark buildings?
Yes.
Okay. Is that in effect here?
I imagine so, but that's a state level issue, and it's not the government's
Well,
job to create jobs.
We have an economic physical development president that works.
This man, I don't know, it's not his job to get taxes for his area when that, I don't know what he's talking about.
It's not the
The way
government's
it laws.
job to create jobs.
Well, they paid the money, they have passed legislation that made them not pay the money, or only half of what they were paying, and that was in your district. What did you do to influence the state legislature? Against it? Anything? Guess not.
Well, this is public comment. It's not for.
Okay,
for the
that's
public.
all I had to say. You don't have jobs, you don't have money, so you just let more money go. I understand.
This forum isn't for the commissioners and the public to argue. It's a public comment. And go from there, so. Any other public comments?
Yes, Robert Sherwood, in reference to what Irene asked, I can't speak for the other members, but I believe the intent of everybody is to primarily hire a veteran for the job.
Yes.
And in reference for the extension and a temporary employee,
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
due to the exaggeration of the income of the director, it was brought forward and the actual income's half of what it is, or just over half. it's hard to find somebody to take the job, and in reference to being under fire in the office, a lot of people don't want to take a job for an extended time or until after the first of the year when somebody steps down. So filling the seat will probably run until after the start of the next year. So that's why we're asking to putting somebody in temporarily. Okay, any questions, Irene?
No, because I had trouble hearing you.
Could you please fill out a paper for us?
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. We need to have you fill out one, please, too. Thank you. Any other public comments?